Hello and welcome to our Synoptic revision class. This is Level 3 Synoptic from AAT Official 2016 Assessment number 1. This is 2 hour 45 minutes exam and 15 minutes you get for the uploading. You need to get 70%. This is only a guideline, but anything can come up. 5 tasks are there. Task 1, 2, 3. This is your part A, you can say. And in this part A, you got to answer 3 questions, 15, 15, 15. Altogether, 45 marks are there. And these are all from ethics. And part B, which is task 2.1 and 2.2. This is what we call part B, spreadsheet, yeah? This is from spreadsheet 25 and 30, 55 is here. 55 plus 45, that gives you 100 marks. And how many minutes are there? 3 hours. So in 3 hours, 180 minutes are there. You need to answer 100 marks. 1.8 minutes you get per mark. And, including the 15 minutes uploading. So you need to keep it in your head and keep working for this last part here, spreadsheet. You should have a good knowledge of your advanced AVBK, advanced bookkeeping, FAPR, final accounts preparation, and management accounting, costing, MMSE. Yeah, anything can come up from these 3. Here is management accounting, costing basically, and this the other one is final accounts preparation and advanced bookkeeping. That is your exam criteria. You need to pass separately both of these, spreadsheet and ethics. Once you jump from ethics to spreadsheet, you cannot go back to the ethics. Yeah, so be careful with that. Let's get started with our assessment. This is AAT copyright protected, and 3 questions. We're gonna finish. Boom, boom. Don't worry. Keep staying with me. Of Z, assessment number 1. 1.1 is based on a workplace scenario separate to the rest of the assessment, and 1.2, 3, 2.12 is based on BLM and company. Okay. You're a part qualified accounting technician, so that's you. You work for BLM and Company, a business of which manufactures and sells sinks. BLM and Company is owned and run by Brian and Lakmini Murray in partnership, so they're in a partnership. You cover all aspects of bookkeeping and accounting for the business, along with Jade Mellon, who is responsible in particular for completing VAT. Someone called Jade Mellon is responsible for VAT. BLM Company also uses services of ARU and Company, a firm of accountants. Kiera Jackson is the accountant at ARU and Company who carries out tasks as BLM. So they have an external accountant as well from ARU and Company. The accountant name is Kiera. So many information given may be needed at certain levels. Well, so if we keep going with the task 1.1 here, in the exam you will be given the access AAT code, so there will be a pop-up available for you in the exam. You can check it out, the code of conduct and the rules, but my suggestion is learn in advance, save time in the exam. If you're really stuck, you can check it out. This task is based on a workplace scenario separate to the rest of the assessment. This task is about ethics for accountants. Are these statements true or false? Statement number 1, statement number 2, reading number 1. Accountants have no duty to act in public interest. This is definitely false, going to be, provided that they act in interest of the employer. No, this is false. They should work best in the public interest, doesn't it? The Code of Professional Ethics provides detailed rules on how to act in every possible situation accountant might encounter. Not every possible situation. Sometimes you need to exercise your own judgment. This is false as well. That's how you answer and keep moving. Ethics are based on values which are demonstrated in behavior. Sometimes there is conflict between personal and organizational values which needs to be resolved. An accountant who is employed by a large organization personally values loyalty and fairness highly. Loyalty, being loyal, and being fair very much. Yeah. In the table, we'll identify where there is a conflict between the organization's behavior and the accountant's personal values. organization's behavior and personal values. Select yes, no. So organizational behaviors and accountant's personal value. Let's read 1 and 2 only. Is there a conflict to resolve? So we need to say yes or no. Gives long-standing employees an extra half day of holiday for every 2 years they remain with the organization. So organization is being loyal. Accountant's personal values are loyal as well. Is there a conflict to resolve? Answer is no. Promotes employees on the basis of family or other close relationship. Now this is not fair, isn't it? So is there a conflict to resolve between the accountant and the organization? Answer is yes. Yeah. So all these answers are given into the AAT website, and the questions are given. You can check it out from them as well. Maybe the BPP answer is some slightly different. The one I provided is pristine clear. An accountant has been offered gifts by the sales manager of one of his employer's main suppliers. Okay, the accountant has known the sales manager several years, a little like a familiarity threat, and being offered some gift. Self-interest is there. Objectivity could be biased. Complete the following statement by selecting the correct option below. Being offered gifts by the sales manager is what? To the accountant's fundamental principles of what? Is that an intimidation threat or is that a familiarity threat? This is a familiarity threat because it's known. And option 2 is a professional competence you care or objectivity. Objectivity, the accountant can be biased here, right? Reading the next one, an accountant works for a large company. A potential customer of the company has asked the accountant to reveal confidential information about the company's cost structure pricing. The potential customer has offered to pay. So confidentiality breach, you can see an offer to pay, a little bribe. Self-interest could be, what is the question? It's about true and false. 1, 2, 3. Number 1 reading. The accountant may never disclose confidential information to any third party. What do you think? Is that true or false? You might think, oh, they should never. Not actually. The answer is false. Why? Because they can disclose it to NCA, HMRC even, yeah, without the consent of the employer they're working for. If the employer is involved in anything illegal, drug trafficking or terrorism, so straight let them know. There is nothing to do with the confidentiality. If you don't do it, you will be imprisoned or fined, being an accountant. Number 2, the threat that the accountant is facing to her compliance with the fundamental principle is self-interest threat. Yes, being bribed, offer, or some financial gift, anything, offer, payment is a self-interest. That's true. Number 3, accountant must resign immediately from the company as her integrity has been compromised by the offer from the the accountant doesn't need to. She can talk to the to her supervisor or manager, or she can politely deny to the offer. Yeah. Moving on to the next part for E. An accountant is following the conflict resolution process. Conflict resolution means between party 1 and party 2. Two party, there is a conflict. They're following that resolution. The code of professional ethics in respect of the ethical dilemma at work. He has collected evidence and documented the process carefully, so he can seek guidance on the dilemma from another accountant. Okay, we'll complete the following statement by selecting one of the options below. 1, 2, 3. 3 options. You need to select one. In relation to the evidence and the documents, the accountant must be particularly careful to ensure the fundamental principle of what not breached. You know, two parties being involved and both of those parties' evidence and documents, confidential evidence and documents being held by the accountant. So the accountant must take care of the confidentiality. None of this is applicable over here. Let's move to the next question. Next part of question number 1, basically. An accountant has a client who has been involved in concealing criminal property. You know, the concealing, hiding that leads to your money laundering, then layering it and then transferring it to your own business, showing it as legitimate. So it's involved with money laundering. But let's see what is the question, basically. The accountant has reported the client to the relevant authority and has told the client this. Now the accountant has done what mistake? Tipping off, isn't he? Accountant is letting the client know, so the client can hide his sins, you know. So this is called tipping off. Accountant has committed the criminal offense of tipping off. Yeah. An accountant, next question. An accountant is a sole practitioner. She has discovered that a client has been money laundering. Now, it's a sole practitioner, sole trader, not a big company. Complete the following statement selecting one of the options below. Like, whom do you report? Do you report to nominated officer, National Crime Agency, HMRC? Answer is National Crime Agency. Why? Because sole practitioners, they don't have nominated officer. If it's a PLC, LTD, then you do have no nominated officer. You do let them know. For sole practitioner, you tell the National Crime Agency. Well, that is our question number 1. Let's move to the question number 1.2. In the exam, these will be given, so not bothering. This task is based on the workplace scenario. BLM and company. Today's date is given, so date is important, especially doing the email. So BLM and company's VAT control account 31st March is as follows. VAT control account. Look at this. This is a VAT control account. So I hope you all remember what is the VAT control. It is a liability account. On the credit side, it's a liability. On the debit side, call it asset, but it's basically less in liability. If your VAT goes up, you write on the credit side. If your VAT goes down, you write on the debit side. All the income related VAT is on the credit side. Expense related VAT on the debit side. Or less in expense on the credit side, less in income on the debit side. So many things I have said. You can rewind the video and check it out one more time. Starting here, balance BD. So your company owes that much of VAT at the beginning. Sales daybook, income VAT, more liability. Purchase return daybook, so less in the expense, more liability. This cash book means VAT paid. VAT paid. Look at this. These two figures are similar. So this owing VAT was paid at 6th of February. Then purchase daybook VAT. We can reclaim sales return daybook VAT less than the VAT, and then remaining this much VAT balance CD. CD becomes balance BD. That should be normal, but hold on, they said something here, errors it looks like. On reviewing BLM company's daybooks, you have found 2 errors. 1, 2. Number 1, VAT this on a sales invoice, this is a VAT to remember, was wrongly recorded as sales. Wow. So basically, this is a VAT. Should have been recorded as VAT. Sales VAT should go here, shouldn't it? Yeah. But you record it as a sales. So you must minus it from the sales. Sales debit, VAT credit. Make sense? Sales debit and VAT credit. We are doing only VAT account. So VAT account should be credit by 2983.50. So this is a journal from the sales. You can write sales journal or sales daybook journal. That's going to do the job. Number 2, a supplier you're purchasing goods from had overstated VAT on an invoice. So purchase invoice VAT was shown higher. Purchase invoice VAT, where do you record? On the debit side, don't we? And post it on the BLM. So you need to make your purchase invoice VAT down. How do you make it down? Just write opposite side. So 50 you showed high on the debit side, write it on the credit side 50. Purchase it's a, how do you make it down? Through credit note. You can write it purchase return daybook journal. So 50 here. So that would satisfy. That's how you're going to correct it. You prepare the journals to correct the errors. Look at the question. Are the journals being processed? What will be the revised balance carried down? This balance carried down will be revised. This is going to go up on the credit side. This to being added. So you can do this way, or you can do the whole T account again. I'd like to do this way here, which is 61482.13. Yeah, it is 13. 13 plus 2983.50 plus 50. So the balance should be 64,515.63. 63. That should be the balance. Complete the following sentence, the new revised balance. Your balance sheet CD would be changed, total would be changed to any, and that should be balance CD, which going to come down over the on the other side, credit side, as balance BD. You are still liable by that much of amount. Complete the following sentence by selecting one of the options. This balance will appear on what side of the trial balance? What side? It's a liability. Yeah, you have to give it to them. Balance BD on the credit side. Moving on to the next part of the question. You discover that BLM and Company has been supplying sinks to Melon Limited. Melon Limited. Now, you know, Jade Melon is working for BLM. Now, Melon Limited. BLM is supplying goods. A company owned by and run by brother of your fully qualified colleague, Jade Melon. Now, there's a familiarity threat there. Mr. Jade Melon, who is an accountant of our company, BLM, he might give some benefit to his brother, to whom we are supplying sinks. Yeah. When you look at the relevant invoices, you realize that Jade has been misrecording VAT, so that BLM Company's sales to Melon Limited are overstated. Now, that's wrong, and that's unethical. That's being biased to the to your family members. Yeah, you're being biased, your objectivity being diluted here. As a result, Melon Limited qualifies for 15% trade discount on its future purchase. See, it's clearly giving favor to his brother. Now, reading number C, applying the conceptual framework from the ethical code, which one of the following describes the situation faced by Jade Melon when recording sales to his brother? So, is it self-review threat? No, not actually. Nothing to the complete familiarity. Yeah, that should be an objectivity being biased here. So, giving favor. Intimidation, nothing. Nobody is intimidating. But familiarity and objectivity is the best answer here. Of course, professionalism is a problem. But familiarity threat is clearly answerable here with the objectivity being biased. You conclude that the deliberate misconduct or misrecording of VAT is unethical behavior by Jade Melon. What should be your next action? What are you going to do? You send a suspicious activity report to NCA. It's nothing like big crime here. You tell the owners, Brian and Lakshmi, that's what you're going to do. Yeah, let the owners know what is happening within the organization. Then the owner can take a good decision. Right? Moving on. On the morning 16th April, Jade Melon is dismissed. Yeah, he should be, because he let the owners know about his misconduct, and BLM. He leaves the business. You're temporarily BLM Company's accountant now, because you were an accounting technician, but you became an accountant. The VAT officer will be coming to the office and planned visit. There is a planned visit anyway. Afternoon, on the afternoon 16th. Oh, it's just that day. You are not prepared for this visit and do not believe you can answer any questions from the VAT officer effectively. That's a problem, isn't it? Brian and Lakshmi insists you must be present. Now, if you're not competent enough, you shouldn't do it. Yeah, you can always delay explaining the situation. Which of the following should be your next action? Resign? No, you don't need to resign. Yeah, request that the visit by the spokesman, that can be an answer. Agree to deal with the VAT officer in line with. No, don't, like, whatever is real, go along with your employer's instruction you follow. No, not actually. This is the best answer. Yeah. Moving on to the next part here. It looks like a SLCA we got to do. So, as a result of Jade's misconduct, Brian and Lakshmi have asked you to examine his recording sales ledger transaction. In the 3 months ended 31st March 2017, you identify the following information. Sales ledger control account balance, opening balance BD is this. Then from 1st of January to March, receipts, the customer, this is your bank, right? Or cash book. Sales to, this is your sales. Return to sales return. Now, including or excluding VAT, of course, this is going to be including VAT. Don't be bothered about it. Irrecoverable debt, making your receivables down. Yeah, return makes your receivables down. Irrecoverable debt makes your receivables down. Bank makes your receivables down. Only credit sales makes your receivables higher. So amounts owed to the customer confirmed by credit customer is this at the 31st March. That means CD. Where's the question? Complete the sales ledger control account below by including 4 options in the appropriate column. Enter the totals to reconstruct the sales ledger account. So that's going to be an easy peasy SLCA. It's a debit account. So if your receivables are up, you write on the debit side. If your receivables are down, you write on the credit side, right? So balance BD and balance CD given. CD becomes BD here anyway. So cash book means bank. I said banks makes it down, so it should be 934076. This is here. You can write cash book, not a problem. Basically, nice. Sales table. SDV is making your receivables higher. That's here. Sales return 21177. SRDV. Sales return day book, and a recoverable debt also makes your receivable down. Equal to debit is sales SLCA credit. That's what we got to do. Yeah, we can do total and try to get both side total. If you get the total taking the calculator on screen, you can expect your debit side to be bigger. It's just give me a minute. I need to make my calculator a little smaller. A little more. Doesn't get more smaller than that. Okay, so here 492409 plus 970370. How much is total? 1462779. 1462779. Now all this should equal here, but it looks like there is a gap. Let's calculate it. Minus from this figure, minus all the 4 items. 934076 minus 21177 minus 4330 and minus that CD 487354. How much is left? 15842. 15842. That is still a balancing figure, you know. I hope that is our next question. Now calculate the missing figures in the sales ledger control account. That is your 15842. And which of the following could be the missing figures? Which one? The one that makes it down. Now discount allowed, yeah, makes your SLCA down. That should be the answer. Checks from the customer unpaid, that's called dishonored check. That goes on the debit side. Cash sales doesn't come into the SLCA. So this is going to be discount allowed. Even you can write it down here. Your balancing figure is discount allowed. Well, one more from the question number 2, which is I. Complete the following statement about irrecoverable debt. The amount of an irrecoverable debt is what? 1, 2, 3. Is calculated as a percentage of the total rate. You know, 2% or 5%, any percentage that we call doubtful debt. Yeah, on the trade receivable. That's not irrecoverable. Always related to a specified customer. That can be answer. You know, you have customer A, customer B, customer C, customer D. You're selling it to them. Now, maybe customer C went into the bankrupt and you can't recover any money from them. So it's a specified customer become irrecoverable. That can be answered. Let's read the last one. Increase in the balance by allowance for doubtful. This is again increase or decrease in doubtful debt. This is DD, doubtful debt. So nothing to do with the irrecoverable debt. The answer is number 2. And that is our 1.2. Moving to the last question, 1.3. Again, this is a repeated words. The pop-up will become available for you on AAT code professional conduct. Let's read this one. This task is based on the workplace scenario. BLM company. Today's date is given. You are Sam Jones, a part qualified accounting technician. You work for BLM company, a business which manufactures and sells things owned run by Brian and Luckney Moray in a partnership. We know these things. Now the main core question starts here. Brian has asked you to prepare some financial statements including statement of cash flow and some further documents including cash budget. Now, you are a technician. These are big things to do. You might not have that much of expertise, isn't it? He wants you to do this urgently. Urgently means you might not have enough time to do. That's another problem. He needs to send this document to the bank by the end of the week in support of a loan application. Nothing wrong with that so far. Brian tells you that the obtaining loan is very important for the survival of the business is a matter, and that the jobs of everyone in the business depends on this. Now you're getting a little intimidated, like your job is dependent on the loan being passed or not. So far, your studies have not covered the statement of cash flow. So look at this, you don't know how to do the cash flow, so you don't have that expertise anyway. So that is going to be a problem. There's a timing going to be a problem. Even intimidated, there is a problem. Then other people might lose jobs, so you might become a little loyal. Oh, let's do it for them. Try to do it again alone. That's another problem. Finally, you should seek advise how to remove these problems, shouldn't he? Let's read the question. Explain the ethical issues. So all the ethical issues that I already discussed. Refer conceptual framework, principle, threat, safeguards also. So number one, you can bring it here. I don't have enough experience. Yeah, don't have experience or expertise in this area. That's going to be a problem. Number two, urgent. Yeah, deadline may not be met. May not be met because of urgency. Number three, being intimidated. To do the job, for threatened, fear of job loss. Yeah, fear of job losses. Then your loyalty here, other people gonna do the job. Yeah, so you can say familiarity, threat to appeal of loyalty because you know them. Of appeal of loyalty. And finally, 4 is enough for 4 marks. 1 sentence, 1 mark. You can get a remedy better. Instead of familiarity, this one you can remove and can give a take legal advice and talk to your senior and try to remove the threats to a minimum acceptable level. Alright, so that's your answers. Could be model answers are given in your BPP question bank. You have discussed the matter with Brian and Lakshmani, but they still wish you to carry out. Look at them. They're very stubborn. State specific course of action you should take in order to remain ethical. Now, you can tell them, okay, look, I can do it. Either you can say I can do it, or you can say I cannot do it, only for 1 mark. So I can do it if I get training or CPD training on the area of cash flow. I can do it. So you need time here, don't you? Or if you say yes, then that's the answer. If you say no, I can't do it, so look for someone suitable. Give the task to someone suitable to do the job, right? That is your number B. For number C, I can see you receive the following email from Lakshmani More. There's an email, but look at the standard of the answer. You got to answer typing to whom you're emailing. What is the subject? Just copy paste and write it and get your easy mark. From and date is given, and then write down here. Don't you? Yeah. Let me erase it. Let's go to the email. That's the email. To Sam Jones from Lakshmani More. Date is given, subject. So these two from date subject you can copy paste into the structure bottom. Good morning, Sam. Brian and I are considering starting to operate the business as a liability, limited liability company, from partnership to limited liability. So you can think, what are the advantages and disadvantages of partnership? What are the advantages and disadvantages of partnership? Limited company. The biggest advantage in a limited company is your liability is unlimited. So you don't need to pay from your own pocket. Just if your business goes into liquidation, you sell your business and pay it. You lose your share money only, isn't it? There are many more advantages. Could be it's a prestigious issue. You can raise more capital. Loan even can gather by selling shares. You can raise more capital. But there are disadvantages as well. More red tape. Means more paperwork is there, more legislation is there. You need to prepare the accounts and submit for auditing if it's a public limited company. Dividends should be paid. If there are more shares issued, share ownership would be diluted. Yeah, these are the things, right? Let's see what is the question, by the way. I'd like you to tell me more about the advantages and disadvantages of a partnership becoming a liability. Now, I already said all the partnership advantages and disadvantages. You can write it down and get your full marks. Let's read this specifically. The question is, please include these 3 sections in your response to me. Number 1, brief description of a limited company. Now, limited company, there are 2 types of limited company: public limited company and private limited company. Public limited is reference PLC, private limited is LTD, and your liability is limited by the shares. Liability limited, you can write it down, and this is governed by Companies Act 2006, you can say, or even don't need to mention 2006, just Companies Act, and needs to be registered with Companies House. These are the things. You can write it down here in your answer. Number 2, summary of our position as owners. The business becomes limited. Now, as owner, the ownership, you will be shared with the share basis. Yeah, shareholder are the owner. Directors, they're not the owner, they run the business, but shareholders can be directors, or they can hire external directors. If they issue more shares and bring more shareholders, the shareholding will be diluted. They can do the voting rights based on the share position, because there are 2 only, so 50% shares they can hold in the business, and the same controlling they can hold in the business. Based on the shares, they're gonna get dividend. Dividend is a part of the profit, right? Profit after the tax. And yeah, these are the things. If you explain, that would give you good marks. So make sure, how many marks are here? 10 marks. So from the first one, I'd like to gather 2 marks, couple of marks from this. Then from this here, 4 marks, 5 marks from number 2, and from here 4 more marks. So 4, 5. Already more than 10 or 3 marks maybe there, couple of marks in the or 1 mark or 2 could be here, couple basically into this structure. And advantages and disadvantages already said, but you can repeat it here. Let me reveal the model answer. This is the model answer we might have discussed here. You can check it out. And another answer here: limited liability company ownership. Yeah, and the advantages and disadvantages, which is given at the back of the BPP question bank. Well, that's all in this video from the ethics. Check out our next video. Yep, that's all. Check out the next video on the Excel, which we will be dealing from this. Can you see? Yeah, yes. So from the Excel worksheets to do 2 more tasks from spreadsheet on the Synoptic. Till then, goodbye.